I do not know where I am. I'm somewhere in between Bristol. No, I'm not. I don't know where I am actually. I'm somewhere. Where am I? I'm on the M4. M4. Oh my God, tip a truck. Okay, right. Hello. So, I don't know exactly where I am. Has it stopped raining? No, it hasn't. So, I'm driving from where I live, of course, which is Ramsgate in Kent. And I'm driving over to, it seems to be where all of the bargains are, which is the western of the country. Just bit my tongue. Anyway, you'll notice that I am actually in one of the tipper trucks. You know, one of the transits with a flatbed on the back. I'm picking up something today that I could say is very close to a childhood dream of mine. And I think a lot of children, I reckon, in the last 70 years has at least had a little bit of a twinkling of a dream of having something reminiscing what I'm picking up today. People remotely into engineering and technology, that is. Granted, what I'm picking up today isn't exactly the dream thing that I'm thinking of. It isn't the supercharger variant, of course, that you would see in the Supermarine Spitfire, the Hurricane, the Lancaster, all amongst many of the others, the Rolls-Royce Merlin engine, of course. Now, I'm picking up the land-based variant, the Meteor engine. Oh my God, I don't believe it. I mean, it is still very much the same thing. It's a 27-litre V12 Rolls-Royce engine. I've been trying to pick one of these up for a long while. In fact, I've been hunting for a Merlin engine for a long time. But nowadays, they seem to be pretty much unobtainium in broken condition. The thing is in working condition, you know, when you see a Merlin engine sitting on the back of a trailer or something, you're looking at upwards of £50,000 or more. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's not in the realms of affordability for somebody like myself. So I'm looking for broken ones or projects and things like that, unknown conditions, stuff like that, and they just don't turn up anymore. I saw a couple about 10 years ago, but I didn't even have any. I had no savings at the time, so it wouldn't have happened. But luckily nowadays, the land-based version, which is basically the same, that just it rotates the opposite direction and doesn't have a supercharger, is still relatively easy to get hold of. By relatively easy to get hold of, what I mean is a couple come up on eBay every year sort of thing. In fact, I was trying to get a deal on a couple last year. Both of them were up for around £5,000, which is quite a lot of money for an engine that you don't know where it works and you don't really need. It's kind of crazy. I tried to get them down, but I just couldn't get to a price that I could particularly afford. Lo and behold, fast forward to last week, where I got a message from multiple people sending me the same eBay listing of a Rolls-Royce Meteor engine. There was a video on the listing showing it actually being able to be moved, but that could mean anything. But it was good enough for a punt for me. I sent over an offer, it got accepted, and yeah, basically it ended up costing about half of what those ones I was trying to get last year costed. So I'm going and picking it up now. Whether it works or not is anybody's guess. It is a complete punt. I have no idea. But every cloud has a silver lining. There is something that is very wrong with it, then I just get to take it apart and see what's going on. In fact, if there is a problem with it, that means I have to take it to pieces, then maybe that is a good thing, because I learn more about the engine than I wouldn't have if I spent more on an engine that I knew the condition of, or something like that. This eBay listing says it was removed from a tank and apparently it was running. I don't know what that means, and apparently it was running, so you know, it could mean anything. Maybe the engine was just removed because it was at the end of a maintenance window and it just needed rebuilding or something, which would be amazing, because that would be fine for me. A slightly tired Meteor engine is better than no Meteor engine whatsoever. I've had a lot of things to do in January, and I've got even more things to do in February, so this is literally the only window I could get this thing, and it's just absolutely ridiculous. By the way, I am slowly working on the next video of the Aussie 7. It is turning out to be a bit of a pig of a job, and that is the back hydraulic brakes. They're nearly done, they're so close, so that video is coming out very soon. But as you know, if you're anything like me, I'm sure you can empathise with the desire of wanting to sink your teeth into a new shiny fancy project just as an old project is starting to get somewhat tedious. Anyway, one of the people who sent me this eBay listing I should be meeting on the way back. That is Chris at the Bracket Factory, who has just picked up his very own Meteor engine and has also done a lot of Austin 7 work. You may have seen on his YouTube channel if you are following the Austin 7 modification kind of thingamagoots. There is a chance we're going to be going via his on the way back to see his Meteor engine and his Austin 7 special. The other problem with the engine that I'm picking up today is it doesn't have a starter motor. That's probably the biggest problem it has, which isn't the end of the world. I'm sure we can mock something together, but there is a chance. I'm trying to line it up right now. We're going to be visiting somebody else as well on the way back in Bristol to pick up a starter motor and maybe some other auxiliary ancillary items. But yeah, I'm about 3.5 hours in of a 5-hour drive over to Wales to pick this thing up. So I'm going to carry on and I'll see you when we get there. Perfect. So here it is. It's in the back. Oh, I'm so excited. Look at that. Oh, what a lump. This is awesome, isn't it? So yeah, we're going to Bristol now. We're going to pick up a starter motor with Jamie, and then after that we're going to go and see Chris in Reading. So we best get going. Oh yeah. The next stop was to go over to Bristol and see Jamie, who has quite a surplus of Rolls-Royce Meteor spare parts and things, amongst a load of other amazing things, quite a few different aviation engines and things like that. This is where Chris, the Bracket Factory, got hold of his Rolls-Royce Meteor engine the other week, actually. And yeah, there's a bit more footage over there. The link to Chris's video is below. But anyway, when I was driving over in the morning to Wales, I spoke to Jamie on the phone and he mentioned that he could probably be able to muster up a starter motor, a fully working starter motor out of spare parts by the time I got over to him later in the afternoon. So you said there was a priming pump?
Yeah, so down below this end. And it's right down kind of underneath, just on your, sort of to your left. Yeah. Because this is a geared pump, I figured it might not prime through the pump. So we prime it through this one as well. So it's pushing oil into the main pipe and into this pipe, through the filter, and then onto the engine. So we can build up about 20 psi. So we're getting oil up to the cams, that's the main thing, because these take a couple of minutes to build up pressure. The Rolls-Royce engines tend to have high cam wear. They tend to have very fierce valve springs. I'm not sure it's necessary, but anyway, that's what they did. And they do suffer from, if they haven't got good lubrication, they do suffer from premature wear.
Okay. So where's the fuel pump right now?
So the fuel pumps are
there.
So they're mechanical pumps. They're what they call a David fuel pump, and they use those on the B series Rolls engines, a lot of the military.
And yeah, lo and behold, he had a nice starter motor for me as well. After that, I went over to Reading to go and see Chris, the Bracket Factory, who also does YouTube videos about Austin 7 specials, a load of interesting car builds, and also his recent pickup, which is actually a Rolls-Royce Meteor engine. He is one of the people who actually sent me this listing on eBay as well. So yeah, we're going to go and see him now. Oh yeah, this is what you've done recently.
Yeah, so this is the pain that you're going through at the moment, Sam.
Oh my God.
This is the modification of the back plates to fit the Morris Minor wheel cylinders.
I thought I had it yesterday, but then I fitted it again. I was like, oh, they've got to come off again.
I know. It just doesn't end. On and off and on and off.
And you've pulled quite a lot off that, because I've been taking that further back and back. And then, have you had to machine any of the top of the cylinder at all?
I have to fettle the top of the cylinder so it doesn't foul. So the wheel cylinders are fettled as well, front and rear. Yeah, so
they're such a faff.
On this one, I've made these different steering arms.
Okay.
And of course, I've had to machine out the alley for them to actually slide on and fit. And look how close the brake unions are. So I've even had to file a flat off the union, and so you put the brakes on first, and then you slide this in. So it's all mega tight. Yeah.
There's a lot of blooming heck. It's cool to see it up close. It's quite a bit of work.
So you say you got the body and you found the chassis, but everything else you
Yeah,
had to
so
clump
the
together.
body and the chassis were made in the 80s. Everything else I've had to fabricate. So all of this stuff, all of this, all the brackets and the manifold. I made the exhaust.
It's quite amazing.
Made the tank. And this is a mini radiator.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Tiny little thing, isn't it? So it's a non-pressurized system, of course.
So there's no water pump in this one?
Oh no, there is.
Oh,
There's a little electric water pump there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
And of course you got this chopped off. There's no dynamo anymore.
Oh, yeah.
Just it's kind of chopped out and drives the Dizzy.
So are you running at a loss, or have you got an alternator? Oh, is that? Oh.
No. I do have an alternator. So I made a
that's
little
tiny.
alternator conversion. So this is a little Kubota tractor alternator. Sorry, tractor. Garden lawnmower job.
Okay, and that's enough.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just enough. Yeah.
Oh, is it pressure fed as well?
No, it's not.
It's just you've got the you've just got
it's
it
not a
blocked off.
pressure fed. No, it's just a splash fed. Made all this. So
Yeah.
the way it works is you pull it on and click it.
Okay.
So when you want to take it off in a hurry, you just pull
Oh wow.
and it comes off. Or you can adjust. So there's a cable going to both sides, and I think they're Morris Minor cables.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are Morris
recognise
Minor.
it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I made these little brake light brackets, and at first I mounted this on that bracket, but as soon as I pulled the thing, it just busted.
Oh yeah.
So I ended up having to weld it on.
Okay.
So, but it's come out all right. Yeah. It works
How
well.
is the brake light actuated?
The brake light is off a pressure switch.
Okay. Oh, in the back.
Yeah,
That's handy.
In a union on the back axle. Yeah.
Cool. No,
Yeah,
that's.
so it works all right.
And how have you got the reverse? Oh yeah, it's not a four gear, or is it a 3 gear?
It's a 4 gear. So
Yeah.
the reverse, you have to lift that.
Ah, you just got to lift that. Okay, that's
Yeah.
handy. You do that with your foot or something.
You just stick your hand between your legs and just lift it up.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then we got this blooming neck. So you've got, it's up here. See, I've seen Jamie's now.
Yeah. So his is like much more of a display one.
Yeah.
So his looks a lot more like a Merlin, and he's got his remotely down there.
Yeah.
He's got nicer covers. So you can make this side fit that, because of course this has got the 2 flats, the alternator and the thing. So you can modify these ones very, very slightly, and they'll fit on that side.
I've just realised what's happened. The one I've got
Yeah.
has 2 of these, and
okay.
they had a nice looking one with 2 of those.
Okay, so
No.
So they've robbed the nice one to make the other one look prettier.
Oh,
Always
Wow.
like attention, don't you?
it's quite a meow.
So you don't have any of this, but then again, you don't need any of that.
I don't think so.
No.
Yeah, what is your plan with this?
A lot of people ask me that. It's basically just to start it up on the drive, I reckon,
Yeah.
and make a lot of noise. I mean, just like you, I've always wanted to have one.
What did you have when you had it running? Did you have any oil stuff going?
Yeah. So it had Jamie's dry sump tank just here.
Oh yeah,
and
that
then
was
you have
nice.
to have an electric pump to pressurise the oil system. Okay. And then you've got to have a cooling system, so you either run it for 20 seconds without one, or what we did, is you have a massive water drum, and then you've got one connection to here,
Yeah,
and then you've got one connection round to
wherever it is.
here,
Oh yeah.
and that's the water pump
Oh,
there.
that's blocked off.
And then it just circulates. It's like, and then you have like a massive drum. It's like a hot tub, and it gets bloody hot really quickly.
How long did you have it on for?
We probably ran it for 3 or 4 minutes.
Really?
It's fine.
That's the choke.
That's the choke, yeah.
that's
So that's the throttle. And
Is that
that's
enough?
got a small block Chevy in it.
Oh,
That's the V8, 6.3 litre small block Chevy.
very cool.
That makes a good noise.
Oh, I bet.
But nothing compared to this beast.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Very pretty. Very cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I bet it doesn't make
Yeah.
doesn't honk as much as this.
Yeah. First off, as you can see in the background, the next video, the back brakes are now done on the Aussie 7, which is very good news. So that's something else. But in the meantime, let's quickly talk about the first plan with this.
I also got from Jamie this thing, which is the frame that would have sat in, I think, a Centurion, I'm not sure, but this actually holds the engine in. So you've got the engine mounts there, and you've also got inlet ports into the manifold. This is like a water manifold at the same time. So water goes in here and in there, goes down and then travels out. There's some stuff like that. The clutch would have been here, and there's some controls for the clutch, but I haven't got any of that stuff. So yeah, on first look at it, it doesn't actually look that bad. I am not going to remove any bits and bobs in this video. That means not going to remove the rocker covers and have a look inside. Fingers crossed it's all in there. I mean, it does very much look like it's just been pulled out of the tank, hopefully in a service window or something like that. And we'll see how it goes. The one things that kind of stick out is this has snapped on both sides. So maybe those bolts got forgotten to be removed, and then when it was being pulled up, they snapped off possibly. And then also a few of the wires have been cut out, which means it's a bit worrying. It's a bit concerning. Cut some of the wires, and then also the pickup pipe, which is down there, has just been chopped off. That's from the dry sump of the oil. So that could mean a few things, maybe. It's hard to tell, but yeah, basically just gotta see. So in the next video, I'm gonna build that frame thing into like a trolley so we can move it around and get it going. The first focus was actually getting the thing running, seeing what it does, and then we can think about other things afterwards. There's a lot of ideas that I've got. Which way I go all depends on, number one, time, and also, yeah, how good condition this thing is. But first, let's get it running, let's get it going. So yeah, anyway, I'll see you in the next video, and thank you very much. If you've seen the news today of what I'm doing, maybe, yeah. Also, I've noticed that the spark plugs are actually the same as from a Land Rover fitted for radio 24-volt one. So I guess it's a standard part. So hopefully all of the stuff is standard. It should be. Anyway, I'll see you later.